My name is Storm. I've come to be known as the Black Knight, a bedrock prodigy. See, I became proficient in Minecraft Bedrock's version of combat in just a short span of 4 months. 4 months of relatively unserious training. However, combat soon became different. I can't put my finger on it, but fights became less of a showing of skill over time. I've played the version for over 9 years, but it feels like the version evolved backwards. Fights seem less about spacing and skill and more about CPS. What I'm trying to say is, Bedrock is too easy. I require a challenge. A version with nuanced combat mechanics and a tangible measure of skill. Java Edition. And every story starts on day 1. Shit, I'm dead. So I was crouching. Yeah, not very masterful. I kept crouching because on Bedrock Edition, that's how you use your shield. But on Java, you right click. Also, I kept trying to attack while the shield was up. But on this edition, you need to physically let go of right click, then click left click. On Bedrock, you can just hold up your shield and attack while it's up. And in terms of sword, okay, I wouldn't say I did terrible. In fact, after that, I actually got my first kill. But keep in mind, this is just the beginning. And lastly, for UHC, this was my best game mode back on Bedrock, so let's see how I stack up on Java. I still won. Also, I missed my mathematics class for this, so you know I was locked in. But yeah, as I was saying, I'm the absolute. Can we get a counter for every technical difficulties moment? Seriously, you'd think a game like Minecraft would allow you to use a controller, but no, I had to use both Steam and a mod. And get this, on day 1, I was only using Steam, so I couldn't even do certain things like use keybinds or my inventory. Alas, second time's the charm. On day 2, I was finally able to open my inventory and use my keybinds. Although due to button limits, I only had 3. So I put them on 2, 5, and 7. From each keybind, I could also access the 2 adjacent slots, giving me easy access to the whole hotbar. Or that's what it should have been. But I accidentally bound X to 7 instead of 8. And I'm too autistic to accept change, so we're stuck with this for the rest of the run. So essentially, I could quickly access every slot.
Oh, I switched.
Except 9. Aside from that, I also got slightly faster with the shield. By slightly, I mean by 0.2 seconds. Hey, improvement's improvement.
GG's.
Aside from that, I had this epic, although admittedly close, duel with the low tier 5, which is below average, you could say.
Oh, I forgot there's no thing left.
Yo, I'm so dumb, bro. Now I need to run UHC back because I got touched. On day 3, I decided to take my talents to Diamond SMP, a rising kit. Now this isn't one of the main 8 game modes, but rather a sub-tier of UHC. It has the same principles, but instead of lava, you just have a stack of cobwebs. So this kit is about managing your resources and surviving, so you can whittle down your opponent's armor and eventually drain them of their resources. Now, because I had experience in UHC and Shield, this logically should be my second best game mode. Once again, I got folded. This seems to be a recurring theme here. But again, this was just day 3. And this time, I'm about to see a rapid improvement. On day 4, I played Diamond SMP again, and this time I had the honor of fighting alongside a low tier 3. A low tier 3 is top 10% in the world, so this was a big opportunity, and by watching him play, I already felt myself starting to improve. After that, we switched teams, so it was my turn to fight the low tier 3. And though I failed, I died with honor. And so, we ran it back. Yeah, that was pretty cheap. But hey, I can't blame him. A win's a win. And so we move on to day 5. Now, on day 5, I absolutely annihilated this kid. Mentally. See, I gaslit him into thinking I was a low tier 2. And somehow, he genuinely believed... Sorry. And somehow, he genuinely believed me.
Well, what? Well, I was. Hi. I'm a controller player. Oh.
Now though, this is actually the best
What?
moment from day 5.
This guy's AI. Like, how am I gonna improve against people like this? Rock, I used to
Alright, it's time to get serious.
There's no time to practice. And this is a high tier 5. Dang it, there I predicted his lava coming. My keybind was too slow. Drop, yes! Yo, he gave up.
I'd call that a successful day 5. On day 6, this was my biggest confidence boost and what motivated me throughout the entire run. I fought a low tier 4, which is above average in skill. I asked him to tier test me or to evaluate what tier I would fall into. Now this would set a precedent for the rest of the run, and the full video is on my channel. I was considered to be a low tier 4, which is a giant step in progress. And on day 7, now just keep in mind this isn't actually the next day. This was actually a couple days later. I was on hiatus. But anyways, I got to fight the same guy again and his friend who was potentially better. And honestly, we just stayed up all night practicing. And when I tell you I got better, just see it for yourself. As I watched my opponent, I felt my own input speeding up.
I see what you're Bro!
I thanked them for playing, not realizing that this was a turning point in my journey. GG. But if you thought it was over, then just wait. See, I'm not the only one who wanted to master controller PvP. This is Tinza, and he's beaten people who are ranked top 10 in the world. So it's safe to say he's the best controller player. If I want to say I mastered controller PvP, first I'll have to beat him. And to do that, I'll have to perfect the 8 game modes. In this video, I only focused on UHC, but I'll have to master that and learn all the others. So stay tuned next Sunday for the next episode, because this journey is just beginning.